All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're uncovering the silent killers, those invisible forces keeping so many high-earning professionals feeling, well, completely broke. You know the feeling, right? You get that big raise, you pop the champagne, you think, finally, I am making some real headway. But then you fast forward a year, and your bank account looks exactly the same. So what's actually going on here?
It's a huge paradox. Why does earning more money practically leave you feeling broker? Your salary goes up, but that actual, tangible financial freedom, it's nowhere to be found. You're literally making more money than you ever have, yet somehow, the pressure just feels heavier. The truth is, there are these silent wealth destroyers working behind the scenes in your daily life. And today, we are going to expose every single one of them. The absolute biggest culprit here is something called lifestyle inflation. It's this wild phenomenon where your expenses just magically rise to meet your new income. It's kind of like a slow leak in a boat. You're busy up on deck celebrating that higher salary, but quietly, below deck, you start upgrading your coffee, then maybe your car, then your vacations. The water is constantly draining out, and you don't even notice it's happening until you're practically sinking.
So, that brings us to our first major concept, the lifestyle inflation trap.
Let's look at the stark contrast we deal with every single day. On one side, you've got the social media illusion. The perfectly curated lives, the flashy cars, those luxury vacations that constantly pressure us to spend just to keep up appearances. But then, on the flip side, you have the actual financial reality. Massive debt, zero savings, and just immense, crushing stress. You're essentially sacrificing your actual, real-world financial stability to maintain an illusion for people who, honestly, aren't paying your bills.
And chasing that illusion, that's what quickly locks you into what financial experts call the golden cage. You stretch your budget to buy that massive forever home, or you constantly upgrade your lifestyle, and suddenly you're tied down to huge mortgages and high monthly loan installments. And what does that actually mean for you? It means you lose optionality. You become terrified of taking a risk, maybe starting a business, or even just leaving a really toxic job, all because you have these massive monthly obligations to feed. Those luxuries that were supposed to give you freedom have literally taken it away.
Moving on to our next section, depreciating assets destroy wealth.
Okay, picture this. You buy a shiny new $90,000 luxury SUV. You drive it off the lot, and man, you are feeling successful. But let's look past the leather seats and that new car smell for a second. You haven't just spent $90,000. You've actively taken money away from investments that could be compounding over time, all for an asset that drops thousands of dollars in value the literal second the tires hit the pavement. It essentially takes that new car smell right out of your net worth.
Which brings us to a staggering number, $1.9 million. Based on standard market returns, that is the lifetime opportunity cost of buying a brand new car every 5 years instead of taking that exact same money and investing it. Think about that. You are giving up nearly $2 million in potential wealth over your lifetime just to make sure you have the newest model sitting in your driveway. Crazy, right?
And this is exactly why truly wealthy people view transportation completely differently. To an investor's mind, a car is just a tool. It gets you from point A to point B. It is not a status symbol to flex on your neighbors. Wealth builders typically opt to buy reliable, maybe slightly older cars, and then they keep them for years. They take that massive difference in cost and they invest it, literally turning a guaranteed liability into a wealth-generating machine.
All right, let's look at Section 3, the invisible enemy, which is inflation and mindset.
So the hidden math of inflation is just brutal. You might look at your savings account, see a 4% nominal return, and think, hey, I'm being safe and smart here. But wait, if inflation is running at 6%, your real return is actually negative 2%. Your supposedly safe money is mathematically guaranteeing a loss of purchasing power every single year. Make no mistake, inflation is a slow poison to your wealth if you aren't actively beating it.
But inflation isn't even the only enemy. Our own minds play tricks on us too. We suffer from what you could call attitude diseases. For instance, there's long fingeritis, this highly contagious habit where you chronically put your financial planning on the long finger, just pushing it off. Then there's the comfort trap, where you feel just safe enough right now so you avoid making the necessary financial moves. We also see success bias. That's when you think, hey, I'm a great doctor or a great engineer, so I automatically know how to invest without actually doing the research. And of course, there's just the paralyzing fear of investing entirely. All of these attitude diseases lead to perhaps the absolute most tragic wealth killer of all, the lost years of not investing.
Sitting around waiting for things to calm down or trying to time the perfect market entry strips you of the one unrecoverable advantage you have: time. Compound interest absolutely needs time to work its magic. Every single year you wait on the sidelines because of fear or procrastination is a year of exponential growth you can simply never get back.
This brings us to Section 4, Consumer versus Investor Mindset.
There's a really sharp contrast between these two paths. The consumer is totally focused on instant gratification, short-term hedonism, and looking rich right now. It's all about buying things to impress other people. The investor, on the other hand, is focused on long-term security and actually being wealthy. It's the stark difference between buying a designer watch to show off today versus buying stocks or real estate so you can sleep completely soundly for the rest of your life. To actually make this shift, you've got to adopt this incredibly powerful concept. Stand guard at the door of your mind. You have to actively filter out the endless marketing, the social media pressure, all that consumerism that is constantly screaming at you to spend, spend, spend. Instead, purposefully surround yourself with successful people, seek out financial education, and really curate what influences your daily thoughts and habits.
And hey, when you do want a luxury, because let's be real, we all do, the investor mindset handles it completely differently. Instead of taking your hard-earned salary to go buy that luxury watch or book a fancy vacation, you use your salary to buy an income-producing asset. Then, you let the cash flow generated by that asset buy the luxury. See the difference? The asset pays for the fun, and you still get to keep the golden goose.
Let's dive into our final section, strategies for future security. If you want a great place to start, look at the 50-30-20 rule. It's super simple, but a highly effective budgeting framework. 50% of your income goes to absolute needs, 30% goes to your wants so you can actually enjoy life today, and a strict 20% goes directly towards your savings and investments. It systematically prioritizes your future wealth without making you completely sacrifice the joys of your present life.
But as you move into your 30s and 40s, a basic little emergency fund just doesn't cut it anymore. You need a true resilience fund. Yes, that includes a solid cash buffer, but it also means having short-term investments you can quickly liquidate, affordable insurance to protect your income and health, and a plan to pull your low-cost lifestyle lever, meaning you know exactly how to instantly cut your expenses without penalty if you take a sudden career hit. You aren't just prepping for a flat tire anymore, you're prepping for life's real storms.
And when it comes to investing, try organizing your wealth using a 3-bucket approach. Bucket 1 is for short-term needs, your immediate safety. Bucket 2 goes heavy into equities for long-term compounding growth that outpaces inflation. And then Bucket 3 holds your inflation hedges, things like real estate or gold. Structuring it this way gives you the perfect, logical progression of immediate safety, aggressive long-term growth, and crucial protection against rising costs.
Ultimately, this whole thing comes down to redefining what wealth actually means to you. I always think about this quote: "The only difference between me and him is I have enough." True wealth isn't about the endless, exhausting pursuit of more stuff, bigger houses, and flashier cars. It is recognizing when your cup is full. It's about reframing money as a tool to buy back your time and your freedom, rather than just a tool to buy more stress. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Next time you look at your bank statement, ask yourself, are your daily financial choices buying you things, or are they buying you freedom? That massive shift from being a consumer to becoming an investor, it all starts with how you answer that exact question today. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.